Hey there, Christian Walsh, Coldwell Banker Wire Associates, back again to talk about the Orange County multifamily market. I got my special guest with me, Gigi, back by popular demand. Everybody wanted Gigi. Gigi, what do you think? Did the Orange County multifamily market get knocked out?
Yes!
Yes, it did. Oh no, will it ever come back, Gigi? We're going to talk about that now. Thanks for being here today, kiddo. Appreciate it. Hey there, Christian Walsh, Coldwell Banker Wire Associates. We specialize in multifamily, single-family leasing in Orange County. And here today to talk about multifamily real estate. We did a great report on single-family, and there's a lot of analogies to that report about what happened in Orange County. But there's some unique issues that multifamily is going to have, and we're going to go through that. One of the important things I'd like you to do for me is in the comment section, please tell us what you're seeing out there in Orange County for multifamily right now. We want to hear it. So please share that info with us. All right, let's dive into the stats. So here's what we've got. So just like single family in Orange County, first quarter was amazing. Another record quarter for multifamily in Orange County. So for example, year over year, we had 143 sales in Orange County in the first quarter of 2020. We had 118 last year, so we're up there. Price per unit, we had 405,000 per unit was the average sales price in the first quarter of 2020. For 2019, it was 378,000. So we were up there. So everything was looking good. Then COVID-19 comes and changes the game. So number of closings in April got cut in half. So in 2019, in April, we had 60. 2020, we had 30. But even worse than that, the price per unit in April 2020 dropped to 363,000. So that's a dramatic drop from over 400,000 to 363,000. So, but there's even more bad news. The number of escrows, the number of properties that went under contract that will be closing in the months ahead. So in April 2019, we had 73 buildings across Orange County go under contract. 2020, we had 12. That's just terrible, terrible. Same thing happened with single family. So just to give you an example, in spots where we sell a lot of multifamily, Newport Beach, not a single property went under contract. Costa Mesa, not a single property went under contract. Anaheim was another one. A lot of buildings sell in Anaheim. Not a single one went under contract. So this is not going to bode well for the statistics going forward. Obviously, sales in May are going to be low, but things could turn around. Now, I'm not a pessimist, but I'm a realist, and I want to get into some of the headwinds that multifamily is going to have coming up here in the months ahead. There's some crazy issues that multifamily has, and the reason being multifamily values, the value in multifamily relies on people paying their rent. We all know it's a very tough time for people to pay their rent. So there's a big unknown as to how much rent people will be paying in the future, how many folks maybe just won't be able to pay rent come June, July, August. We already know there were some issues in April. April turned out okay. We're finding out right now, because it's only the 8th of May, we're finding out just who's paid for May, and maybe by the end of the month we'll have more. But this is a new reality. When we go to price out a building as an agent, or a buyer is going to price out a building, or a lender, we'll talk about that, what are they going to use for income? Is it going to be, we're going to have to dive in and see who's actually paying. Does it look like we may have some issues from some of our tenants in the future? We're going to have to know if there's any forbearance plans, if any rent was waived. So those are going to be important things going ahead. And there is some unknown if people are going to be able to pay their rent. So the other issue with this then is the evictions. Evictions are stayed right now. It's per the Judicial Council, there will be no new evictions starting until 90 days after the emergency is declared over. And then you can imagine the courts are going to be filled. Look, I don't want to see anybody evicted, and we hopefully, none of our clients will have to do that, and hopefully no residents will have to be evicted. But this will start to become an issue for those folks that ultimately must be evicted. So that's the flip side of this, is actually getting those folks who we should get out it's going to be difficult to do that. So this all rolls into what we call the vacancy factor for a building. So when we run numbers on a building, we try to determine, we used to use vacancy factor to show, okay, what can we expect as a percentage of gross income that we won't receive due to an empty unit. So that typically ran from 3 to 5%. Some highly desirable markets, there's almost no vacancy factor because people almost never move. But now that's completely changed. If we add in the people that are occupying a unit but not paying, which I think is fair to do, that's a vacancy with somebody in it, those numbers are going to change. And we've seen in the commercial lending side, remember I said I'd talk about lending? In the commercial lending, so 5+, through the month of April, there's one major bank that does a ton of business that raised its rates intentionally to not do any business because of the unknown. So they also increased, they took their vacancy factor while underwriting a building from the 5% we discussed to 10 to 15%. And that's just a ballpark. Some buildings, if there's a rent strike and nobody's paying, that's 100% vacancy factor and 100% occupied units. I mean, these are just unprecedented times. So another big question is, when people are back in their financial footing, when are we going to be able to raise rents? Because over time, rent should go up. The city of LA has a rent freeze, and they've just extended it through the end of the year. It could go beyond that. The other big question when we're underwriting a building, the cap rate. What is the cap rate now? So we know what it was last year and up until COVID. In markets like Eastside Costa Mesa, a building could trade at 3 or 3.5 cap rate, crazy low cap rates. And in some cases, it could be 3.5 pro forma. So the actual rents aren't even there. But now we don't even have enough closings during COVID and then hopefully post-COVID, we're getting there. But we don't have any closings to actually figure out what the cap rate is. It's crazy, it's crazy. So, I mean, obviously, if an investor could get a 10 cap in coastal Orange County, I mean, that would fly off the shelf. But right now, we don't really know where cap rates are. So we've got those financing difficulties. We have unknowns as to when we can raise rent. We don't know for sure what vacancy factors are going to be or where they're going to be. So these are some of the headwinds it's going to make it tough for the multifamily market and tough to figure out where the values are. The other looming specter is AB 1482, which went into place at the beginning of the year. I've done tons of videos on that. But those are rent caps. Throughout California, some municipalities have it tightened down even more. But at some point in time, when you want to try to raise rent, you're going to be capped. And are you ever going to get back to a place where it makes sense? One of the things that's incorporated into AB 1482 in the rent cap formula is the consumer price index. So it's 5% plus consumer price index. That's the maximum. Well, what if the CPI goes negative? So anyway, there's a lot of unknowns. I'm not here to scare you. Again, I'm just not a pessimist, but I'm a realist. I just want to lay these things out. So what I would love to do, like I said, I'd love to hear from you. In general, we're very optimistic the market will bounce back at some point in time here. And we're very optimistic on multifamily. People need a place to live. And where better place to live than Orange County, California? So we're very optimistic. So again, comments, tell us what you're seeing out there. We want to hear. And be sure to subscribe to our video channel and also to our email newsletter. And I'll put a link in below so you can do that. Because in the email newsletter, we're going weekly, we're actually putting deeper stats. So rather than hear me rattling off numbers, you'll be able to see them. And we have some additional numbers that really show what's happened and what's happened recently. We got to keep looking at the data right now to figure out where we're headed. All right, so I appreciate your time. Have a great weekend. I hope you can sleep after seeing this. I hope you don't have restless nights. I promise we're going to get through this. Christian Walsh, Coldwell Banker Wire Associates, 949-677-3466. Talk to you soon. Thanks.